All right, everybody. The World Cup draw is happening in the next couple of days, and I thought let's do a video going through the pots and what would be a group of death, a worst case scenario, a group of life, best case scenario for the Iranian national team for their 2026 World Cup group. I did put out a tweet talking about my group of life, my group of death, but I thought, why not? With the draw coming up, those World Cup jitters, we're all talking about it on the interwebs. Let's do a video with me and all of you talking about the possibilities for Iran's group at this World Cup. But before we get into it, if you're a big fan of Iranian national team content, Asian football, this is the channel that you need to be at going into the 2026 World Cup. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers, and with your guys' help, I know we can reach that. So make sure to subscribe, drop a like if you guys like this video concept of me just hanging out with you all, talking about a topic that you all are discussing online. Smash the like button. Let's try to get over 50 likes on this video, and let's just jump straight into it. Right next to me is the pots from pot 1, 2, 3, and 4. Iran being in pot 2. We see them right there. I think the best place to start is the group of death. And for all of you that may not understand that term, the group of death is like a worst case scenario group for Iran. Maybe similar to 2018. That was considered a group of death. So let's get started with that and then go on to the group of life, which is considered the easiest group for Iran. When you look at the pot 1 nations, on paper, the 3 host nations are the easiest ones. They are the weakest teams you can get from pot 1. But we mustn't forget, host nations usually get that little bump unless you're Qatar at World Cups. And I would be a bit wary playing against them all on home soil at this World Cup. And we mustn't forget as well, many of you may not know this, but there needs to be at least one European country in every single group. And there will be a few that will have at least 2 European nations in each group. But each group does need to have at least one European national team in it. Many of you might not have known that, didn't know that. So I want to just put that disclaimer out right now. So when you guys follow along and put your guys's group of lives, group of deaths, easiest groups, hardest groups for Iran in the comments down below, make sure to do that while you're watching the video. You guys keep that in mind, that there needs to be at least one European nation in there. From the CONCACAF nations that are here, man, do I really want to run it back, lose like 1,000 brain cells with another Iran-USA game? Probably not. I would say the teams that we would have the easiest go around with is Mexico and Canada. So they have to be ruled out for toughest opponents. For me, I mean, Spain. I mean, they're the clear favorites to win this World Cup. I think Brazil, I think England, France. Yeah, I'm thinking these 3. I mean, it literally almost makes an L. If you look at it like kind of on a crooked way, that's an L right there. So we'll go with those 4 teams. Yeah, that would France, England, Brazil, Spain. Yeah, any of those teams that have very clinical attackers. I think we would have an easier time with these nations, like the Argentinas, the Portugals, Netherlands, the Belgiums, the Germanys, because I think they don't have as much like killer opponents. I mean, we played England at the last World Cup, and in an unorthodox way. We didn't play like our normal selves, defensive structure and all that. Definitely those outside political issues really bled into that match. And we saw one of the worst performances from Iran. But as well, we have to give credit to England. They just capitalized. They have players that are great and athletic in every single position in the outfield. And I think they've only gotten significantly better under Thomas Tuchel. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to throw England in there. France, I mean, so many good players. Brazil, it's just like national teams that have a lot of offensive firepower, like good quality clinical ones. And like Spain, I think encompasses all of that. It's going to be such a long day for Iran. The USA, I think purely due to the athleticism is what kills Iran. I do still think the game would be relatively close. I think it would still be like a 1-0, 2-1. Like they wouldn't run away with it. But I think for the sake of the video, I'm going to go with England, Brazil, Spain. I think those would be the 3 toughest options from pot 1. When it comes to pot 3, the most glaring opponent is Norway. So they have to be the other one that's like, no can do, cannot get them. And then Amir Khalenoi's, I don't know if you guys seen it when he got asked about what nation he would want from this pot or any of the pots. He said he would want Qatar, which obviously we can't get because they're an AFC nation and we can't get fellow AFC nations in our group. But Amir Khalenoui makes his own rules apparently. And obviously we here know the rules, me and all of you watching this. And that's why we probably would make better coaches than Amir Khalenoui. Norway, it's hands down has to be them. No question. I think Paraguay and Scotland are a close second for sure, but the firepower, Sorloth, Holland, Odegaard, like don't get me wrong, they're not complete, but they're the most complete from the pot 3 nations, and they have again the firepower. If any national team that has just consistent firepower, lethal top end firepower, like Holland, Sorloth, Odegaard, the list goes on. There's more players, I just can't think off the top of my head because it's late and I'm a little bit tired. They would murder Iran's defense. Like, if we think Akram Afif is gonna show Shoja Khalilzadeh levels, what do you think Holland's gonna do? What do you think Sorlot's gonna do? Like, they would rip us a new one. Paraguay, I think, have a lot of, like, good offensive up-and-coming talent. You look at Enciso, you look at Miguel Almiron, they have good players. Scotland, they are a little more on the slower pace side in their buildup, and I think that suits Iran. I think national teams that play that little slower pace and are a little less physical, like a Scotland, I still think Scotland would murder us. Don't get me wrong here, but I think that they would suit Iran a little bit more. So I'll say Norway at 100%, and Paraguay would be the close second. When it comes to pot 4, see, this is the tricky one. If y'all remember the last World Cup, we were one of the few groups that had like still to be determined spot for a qualification from Europe. And in my opinion, I don't want that to happen again. I want Iran to know every single national team that they're playing from the get-go. I don't like the uncertainty. I don't like having to wait. Even though, in all consolation, the one win we did get in 2022 was from that nation that did qualify from the playoffs in Wales in that instance. But, yeah, there could be some really, really just, like, crazy national teams, like Italy could qualify. So, from pot 4 on face value, like, there could be a chance DR Congo makes it, uh, maybe even Bolivia make it. I wouldn't mind a Bolivia, I wouldn't mind a Congo. I am a little wary of the African nations because of the physicality aspect. That's the thing that would scare me the most. I think it's just sad. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm kinda, like, dreading, but I'm nervous for this draw because I just, like, unlike 2022 or 2018, I feel like whoever we played against, I think Iran coulda done something, and I wanna be optimistic. I am looking forward-ish to the World Cup, but for me, like, my whole, like, psychological happiness relies on Iran, like, them doing well, me being optimistic, me thinking we have a chance. Players can shed themselves in great lights like we saw in 2014, 2018, especially like the Baranvons, the Taremis, the Azmoons, the Ezutullahis. And I don't really have that good juju feeling at this World Cup. So this one, again, like most videos recently talking about Iran, it's going to be a lot more on the depressing side because most of these national teams have levels to Iran. It's got to be any of the nations coming out from Europe. If we're gonna put someone that's not European, I would have to say Ghana or Haiti. Yeah, Ghana, Haiti, and if Congo qualify, maybe Congo. That's like if I'm going non-European, but again, most of the European nations just gonna bend us over. There's so much levels to it. So, I think for the sake of pot 4, for what we know, I'm gonna go with Haiti or, Ghana. I'll go with that. I will say Ghana probably would struggle more so against than Haiti. So I'll go with that. So to finalize like a group of death scenario for Iran, I'll lock in a Spain, Brazil, either or. I'll give you 2 options from each pot, Spain or Brazil. Pot 3, Norway, Paraguay. Pot 4, Haiti, Ghana in regards to what we know, but I will still lean towards, again, one of the European nations because Italy could still qualify. And even though Italy's on that downwards trend compared to Iran, still relatively better. So I'll go with that. Again, guys, while you guys are watching this, while you're following along, drop in the comments what you guys think. What is the toughest opponents, easiest opponents? Make your guys' predictions as well, like I did in my tweet in the comments down below. I'd love to read them. I'd love to, compare, contrast. I think that's always fun. That's the best part about you all. You guys are great, great YouTube subscriber base that I have. Never take it for granted. And I love reading your guys' comments. In regards to easiest, now from pot 1, there's 3 nations for me. Mexico, Canada, Belgium. And I know this might be controversial, but I'm going to go with Belgium because I just don't think they're that good. You saw it in 2022. They were a dumpster fire. I think, yet again, they're even older. I think they're a lot more, they're worse. They're way worse from 2022. So I'm actually leaning towards Belgium. Canada, Mexico, either or is fine. But again, like I said in the beginning, like the host nation bump, the host nation oomph, I'm not confident about. So either or of them two, but I'm going to go with Belgium from pot 1. Pot 3, it's got to be literally right here. Some tic-tac-toe right here. Panama, Tunisia, South Africa. I remember we did have that behind closed doors friendly. I don't know if you all remember that, against Tunisia right before the start of the 2022 World Cup, and we lost that game. I'm going to say Panama or South Africa. That's what I'll go with. The thing that worries me, though, about Panama, the physicality. They really boss it in the midfield, and they can turn it on. They're a national team that has beaten the USA multiple times in big tournaments, and we couldn't beat the US. Granted, I think if the circumstances were different, I think we could have beaten the US if there wasn't all that political tension surrounding Iran. Yeah, I'll go with South Africa and Panama from pot 3. I will say that. Maybe even Algeria, man. Actually, now when I really think about it, maybe even Algeria. We did lose to them yet again, another throwback like Tunisia. Even Egypt, because they lost to Uzbekistan, and we don't even lose to. It was like, okay, well, granted, we don't beat Uzbekistan, we don't necessarily lose to them either. They got a little bit tickled in the game against Uzbekistan. For sure, South Africa is the easiest. I have to say, South Africa is the easiest opponent we could get from pot 3. This group, the thing is, everyone would think. I think New Zealand's probably the easiest, but again, that down under, that physicality, the heading ability, it just kind of scares me. For me, it's like Curacao, New Zealand, but I would lean towards New Zealand for the most part. Yeah, I would say so. So to wrap that up, then I'll say Belgium and or one of these 2 CONCACAF nations, but I'm leaning towards Belgium. I'm gonna go with South Africa and maybe Panama, and then I'll say New Zealand for pot 4, and then, yeah, you could maybe say Curacao. So we'll just have to see what happens with Iran's group. Realistically, I don't think we're going to get a cakewalk of a group. There's definitely going to be tough opponents. If you're just praying for Iran to get like the easiest group possible, it's not realistic. And to be fair, I would want Iran's group to be relatively challenging. We've seen some of the best like moments for the Iranian national team when they were in that group of death in the 2018 World Cup. Yes, obviously the circumstances were a lot more different for the national team. We had a better coach, a better group of players, things like that. But maybe the underdog mentality, being the underdog team, might suit well for Iran instead of being in a little bit more of a favorable group where the pressure is more so on us. The pressure being off, being a little bit more underdogs might be better, because in 2022, we did have a favorable group. There was a lot more pressure and expectation on us to do well. And of course, I mentioned it throughout the video. There was a lot of external factors, but it's just something to think about. Iran has played their best when they've been truly the underdogs, completely written off. So when it comes to the group, to pray for all my Iranians to hopefully see us get a really easy group. I don't think it's not going to probably happen. And I do think I saw a stat that Persian Soccer posted that Paraguay is one of the national teams that we have the highest percentage chance of having in our group at around like 14%, which is kind of cool. Cool stat that he found out. So I thought to throw in that nugget for the video. But boys and girls, my opinion only matters so much. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As I said, you guys need to make your guys' group of deaths for Iran, group of lives for Iran. What do you all think? I'll make sure to read all of them, respond to every single comment. Make sure to do that. As I said, if you're a big fan of Asian football content, Iranian national team content leading up to the World Cup, make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers before the World Cup starts. And I can only get there with your guys' help. So make sure to subscribe. Smash the like button. Let's try to get to 50 likes. But boys and girls, I hope you'll have a lovely day.